Hey, it's the abstractionist. I'm here with what is going to be the last reading today, Mars winter reading. So, yeah, I'm excited about this. Oh, for some reason, my legs are just really weak, and they've been weak for the entire day. I don't know what that's about, but we'll figure it out. So essentially, this reading is for people with a lot of Martian energy or a lot of Aries energy. If you're gonna go by zodiac, I don't read by zodiac on this channel, so if you come across it, it's because perhaps you were meant to, because I don't read by zodiac, I read by planet. So there's only 10 readings. Used to do them monthly, but now I'm doing quarterly because it makes more sense for my schedule. So I have two decks I'm using, the Archaeo and then Crow's Magic, which looks like this. Let's get into it. I like that one. But I feel like I'm just not gonna put any effort into this reading. I'm just like throwing it down. Like I just don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. There's like a video of the guy, he's yelling, I don't give a shit. Like it's freaking hilarious. Maybe you need to give fewer shits, like, you know? Maybe when you do that, like, people will back off and get the fuck out your way. Maybe what you need for people to get the fuck out your way, I'm gonna like not take these because like, come on, like I need one. Is okay, tell me how you really feel, bitch. What you really need is like aggression for some reason. Nine of Cups at the bottom. So we have the Lion with the 10 of Cups, the Wanderer with the 5 of Wands, and the Magician with the Universe or the Worlds. So for me, you need to be able to do your own thing, and so aggressively kind of telling people to fuck off or back off will be the best course of action. It seems like with this 5 of Wands wanting to wander and do your own thing and be your own person, and perhaps sometimes be alone, but be okay with that, causes a lot of conflict within you, perhaps if you have other obligations, but it could be like other people's fears of like abandonment, like their own codependent issues when it comes to like not seeing you anymore. Like almost like if you were to set off, it's not even a thing of like danger, like oh if he leaves like something will happen, or she leaves something happens, or they leave something will happen. It's kind of like this person's like other people's emotional needs don't get met by being around you, and it's because they're wrapped in their own fears, right? But the cool thing about this with the Lion, the Wanderer, and the Magician is that going off of your own actually closes up a lot of ancestral cycles that that they couldn't complete. And so this could be like familial things, right? Like doing things that your family members couldn't do, or even revitalizing things which were lost, right? So perhaps your family was landowners. At some point they had to sell it because they grew into just, you know, like financial despair and destitution, and at some point you become a landowner again, and now you've closed the cycle of not having land. It could be as like big as that. It could be as, well, let's not think of it as big and small, because it depends on like your ancestry and lessons, because certain lessons, even though they may be small to someone else, they could have very like quantum leap kind of energy for other people. So I won't say that they were small. I do think that you may get a satisfaction when you start to speak up. And you may push the limits with this Lion and Ten of Cups card because you want people to like know what you're thinking and you want to be heard, and so you have to deal with this impulsiveness, like not talking over people and not aggressively pushing your agenda through and pushing your desires through, and not showing up in a way of like it's my way and I don't give a shit. And like energetically that's cool, but when you're like yelling and screaming that at people, it kind of can get like weird, because then other people who may like just want the best for you, but it's like they're gonna say it perhaps a little bit more subtly. They'll get put off by that behavior because they weren't trying to hold you back, and that's something that you may have to work through, is the idea that people are holding you back. They may want the best for you, they just don't know what the best for you looks like, right? Like it looks like what they think and not what you think or even what spirit thinks, right? It may look different, and it's based on their conditioning. And I remember just like a few weeks ago, a week or so ago, of watching someone who was speaking about particularly parents and how they give you advice based on their own fears and stuff like that, and they kind of react to how you're moving about in the world and what you're achieving and not achieving based on what they had planned for you, what they had hoped would be your path, but that because it's not your actual thinking, your actual path, your actual thoughts, that it's kind of, while it's hard to wade and navigate through becoming your own person, it's very necessary, and it frees them up also, because you achieving your own shit, like the way you want to, how you want to, and for the reasons that you have and for the reasons that you want to, really actually sets a lot of things right. Because you're not beholden to like, I think anyone's shit. Like you're not beholden to how they see the solution. You know, you're not going down the road of what they think the solution is. You're going down your own path, and it hurts people's feelings and it breaks people's heart because they have a vision of you that's totally different. And sometimes what really is the issue is that who they think you are is just really a bunch of conditioning that they have failed to wipe away from their experience of you. And it becomes really hard because you feel like you have to be in that position, but it's really playing a role that they have in their mind that they want you to fulfill, but kind of also, depending on how severe it is, need you to fulfill, because it keeps them locked in place. And it's almost like if you change your identity, if they're so enmeshed in your life, it changes theirs as well, because it changes how they relate to you and the relationship that you have. And so there's new roles and archetypes and stuff like that that you have to fill out, and people may not be as comfortable with that because they may not be as comfortable establishing an identity based on a new paradigm. So I'm gonna read these because they actually have like pretty interesting things. So I'm gonna read Lion first. Attribute: if you can convince him to be with you, you will also learn to temper your spurious inclinations, and if circumstances demand it, you'll be able to call upon his massive strength and ferocity. But he's not your pet. His noble heart exists to protect the abused and misused, and he abhors the cruelty of self-serving authority. The lion has learned to tame the youthful inclinations that once led him to waste his power. Instead, through resolve and self-restraint, he has harnessed his stamina. Merely watching his massive shoulder blades rising and falling like pistons informs you of the force contained within his frame. Noble of heart and slow to stir, the lion is, for the most part, passive, but when provoked, he becomes a formidable force. When rampant His will is uncontainable, and he will snap any chains placed upon him as if they were cotton thread. If you're able to convince the lion to accompany you, his presence will give you great security. However, you must never take him for granted. Whilst he will defend you against threat, he is principally there to protect the abused and those oppressed by authoritarian misrule. So like some of you also need to like choose jobs that like you really want to do, and not jobs that like your parents can like brag about, right? Like you're doing it so your parents can like brag about your shit versus like actually wanting to do the job. Because you have to clock in every day. So just so you know, you have to clock in every day. And so if that's the case, then you might want to like work on that so you're not stuck in some shit that you don't want to. Wanderer. The wanderer insists that you stop what you're doing, clear your head, breathe the cool air into your lungs, and feel the mossy rocks beneath your leather boots. Let him ferry you across the lake to a place without concrete, staleness, and boredom, where you can walk with the Romany on their ancient pathways. The wanderer has been traveling hill and dale all his life, and the road holds no fear for him. He moves close to the land, adjusting and adapting to the changing environment and taking course of least resistance, like a river unconstrained and free from inertia. Oh, good. This charismatic Tizgain, I don't know how to pronounce it, troubadour is hard to resist. With his fiddle and his campfire charred face, he's a danger to the daughters of those who cling too tightly to their possessions and treat their wives like chattel. The wanderer is quick-witted and has nothing to lose. For him, life is a thrill that must be tasted like honey. Travel with him, and he will rid you of any staleness and boredom that may threaten to make your life feel stagnant. Once he has accepted you, he will be your blood friend, but remember, he's not a person to be crossed or betrayed. Let go of your presumptions and see where the wind's brother will take you. And so there's Wanderer. Hopefully you can see all of these. Hopefully they're in like the shot. If not, it's like fuck. And then there's Magician. Let's go back. This one is relatively short and to the point. Magician. The magician is no mere illusionist, teasing the eye with sleight of hand. He can teach you how to see into the structures and forms that shape the cosmos and become conscious of the thread that links all things. Nothing is in isolation. Everything is as it seems until you peel back the skin that coats your eyes and hoods your vision from the universe's miraculous luminosity. At first sight, the magician is merely an entertainer, or so it would seem. But what if, behind his cloak lined with talismans, shriveled frogs, small vials of colored liquid, and lead-filled dice, he is more? What if he really is a magus, a shaman, and a true manipulator of time and space? What if he is merely disguised as a pretender? What better way to hide the meaning of science and myth? Behind his back they call him many harsh names: charlatan, mountebank, quack, humbug, but they know nothing of his true identity. Only the few who know how to pass beyond appearance encounter the wonders that reside beyond our daily perception. The magician has had many lives, but if you require him to speak of just one, he will likely tell you that long ago on the plains of Xanadu, he was the architect of Kublai Khan's glorious pleasure dome, the celestial palace that was filled with gilded light, peacocks, Bengal tigers, rainbow lizards, and elephant children with 4 arms who delivered the mail 12 times a day. Interesting. I think that your desire to move forward, really, like these cards suggest, break the chains of what was previously placed on you and continues to be placed on you. And I think that the conflict that you have is more of almost like letting people down easy, like, you know, letting them down easy. This may be something that like it may take you 2 Saturn returns to get over. So like you may be in your like 50s or some shit when like you could be in your 50s now, and like that's when you come across this video, right? You may be in the throes of your second Saturn return before all of this like airs itself out. And there may be like certain regrets, particularly when you were younger, of certain exploits that you had that like, yeah, they were fun, but they had like very serious consequences. But one of the serious consequences was the disappointment of your family members or people very close to you, and a little bit of judgment there. And so you may have taken a really long time to work through that because it was hard to rebound from it, emotional, psychologically, like financially or whatever, but it was also hard to rebound from it when it came to the trust of other people. And it may not even be something like you lost trust because you like stole something or you broke something or you said something you can't take back, but it was just the way that you have acted or the way things have turned out based on your actions kind of like disappointed people, and perhaps you've been trying to repent ever since. And what you most need to hear is that like you should just put that down and move forward. Like if you like drink to kind of like forget about that, like also work through that, and don't turn the anger on yourself, and don't turn perfectionism on yourself either. Like whatever you've done is like done and you can't go back, and whatever experiences you have you can take forward, and you can teach other people not to fuck up the way you did, but also understand that like there's certain things that you just have to learn, like whether you listen to people or not, you just have to learn them. And some people may have been really harsh with you, saying that like that's what you get, or like you didn't listen to me or something like that, placing themselves at the center of like all knowingness. What is that, omniscience? I don't know, but like disregard that with this line. Like disregard that. Like it's your own path, your own journey, and your own fuck ups to make. And while we are our parents in certain respects, we are not our parents. We're not individual parents, right? We like inherit from both, but we're this kind of like the synthesis of our parents. Like, you know, you're not fully your dad, you're not fully your mom, you're like their synthesis. And so you have your own unique experience because of that. And so go live your like unique experience, you know, and don't feel bad about that. So individuation is like major. Okay, thank you for watching, Mars. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.